Hey everyone, thanks for attending today's webinar on Sage 300C, Managing Your Finances, Operations, and Inventory in One Trusted Solution, presented by Mantralogix and Sage. We appreciate you taking time out of your day to be with us, and before I turn it over to Sage's Daniel and Renee, who will be reviewing the product today, I want to inform you all that we will be recording today's session, which we will send out afterwards to all of you. Also, the lines will be muted, so if you have any questions, please type them into the chat box and we'll have time at the end of the webinar to answer them. Thank you all, and thanks Daniel, Renee, and I'll turn it over to you, Daniel, now.
Thank you very much, Matt. Yes, hi everybody. Many thanks for your time on the call this morning and this afternoon, depending on where you are. So over the course of the next 25-30 minutes, we're going to run through Sage 300C, which is our flagship mid-market ERP and business management solution. Just to introduce myself, I'm Daniel Scott. I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager for Sage 300 in North America, currently based out of the Vancouver office. So just to begin, and perhaps for some of the people on the call who don't know too much about Sage, we provide accounting, ERP and business management, HR, payroll, asset management, and payment solutions for businesses worldwide. Formed in 1981, Sage was floated on the London Stock Exchange in 1989 and entered the FTSE 100 index in 1999. And Sage currently has millions of customers and more than 13,000 employees in 24 countries around the world, covering the UK and Ireland, mainland Europe, North and South America, South Africa, Australia, and Asia. We know that many of the Sage products and solutions that we have on the market today have hundreds of thousands of loyal customers who've been using those products for many, many years. So all the solutions on the screen here represent more than 30 years of Sage being a trusted advisor to small and medium-sized businesses, both here in Canada and throughout the rest of the world. At the same time, knowing that some of these products have been around for as long as 30 years means that we're continually looking at modernizing them. Essentially, we want to bridge the richness of the past with the technology promise of tomorrow, and that's exactly what we're doing with Sage 300C. So typically there are three things that companies really look for to get from a modern business management solution. They want clarity, they want control, and they want to get connected. These are the three C's of an effective business management solution, and that is why we created Sage 300C. Our solution has been designed to build on the strengths of the established system and augment that offering with modern technology and capabilities that help our customers meet the needs of today's challenging business environment. So our customers, they often ask us, what does the C in Sage 300C stand for? Well, that really depends on you and your business priorities. So throughout this presentation and Renee's product demonstration, I hope you'll find out what Sage 300C could mean for you and your business. So to start things off, it's important to clarify that Sage 300C is not a different product. It is a modernized, subscription-based solution that builds on top of the existing Sage 300 product. As you can see from this diagram, the new applications that we are building and connecting into Sage 300C are built on top of the existing Sage 300 business logic layer and stores data into the same database. This means that regardless of which flavor of the product you or other users in your company prefer to use, the information saved into the system is shared across both platforms. This also means that you're able to migrate to the cloud one step at a time whenever you feel ready for it. This is how we can enable you to continue to focus on your business while paving a way for you to migrate to some of the newer technologies through our program of connected services, which is integrating best-of-breed cloud-based applications to provide additional complementary functionality and bridge portfolio gaps. Sage 300C helps small and mid-sized companies manage their entire business across geographies without the cost or complexity of traditional old-school ERP software. The preferred solution for tens of thousands of companies across the globe, Sage 300C connects the most important aspects of your growing business, including financials, operations and inventory, project and vendor management, human resource management and payroll, sales, marketing, and customer service. Sage also benefits from an extensive network of third-party, best-in-class solution providers whose add-on solutions extend Sage 300C even further to meet the specialized and changing needs of your business. So imagine a world where your business can process orders, fulfill orders on time, make and accept payments, reconcile your books across multiple companies and currencies, pay employees, and manage projects, all with one trusted solution. So in terms of some of the key Sage 300C purchase drivers, we're seeing obviously from the product demonstration in a couple of moments, an updated, customizable, modern web-based user interface that you can access anytime, anywhere. We have also added additional notes capabilities, which really improve company-wide business visibility, and some additional promotions in market, such as a free upgrade to the premium edition and additional modules which are included in the bundle. We're also offering Sage Intelligence Report Manager and a free designer, Sage Inventory Advisor Basics, which is a market-leading inventory management solution, and new Sage Intelligence Reporting Cloud, which again is offered as part of the 300C bundle on subscription. And as I mentioned, we'll be adding additional connected services around AP automation, e-commerce, budgeting and planning, and Sage 300C manufacturing over the course of the next 6 to 12 months. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to my colleague Renee Castellano. Renee is our field sales engineer based out of our New York operation, and she'll run through a demonstration of Sage 300C.
Thank you, Daniel. Hello, everyone. My name again is Renee Castellano, and I am the field sales engineer for Sage 300. And before we get started in jumping in and giving you an actual live demo of Sage 300C, there's a few things I'd like to go over first with you. So on my screen here right now, you can see this is the actual login screen for Sage 300C. And before we actually log in, I'd like to reiterate once again what actually Sage 300 stands for. And that stands for various things, such as connected, control, or clarity, dependent upon your organization. And really, this is an extension of Sage 300, the classic desktop. Okay, so it's still built on the existing Sage 300 business logic layer, and it stores the data into the existing database system. Okay, so what this means is that regardless of which flavor of this product, so whether you're on 300 classic desktop view or 300C view, you or the people in your company can actually move to this next platform one step at a time, knowing that all of this information is in fact saved into the system and shared across both platforms. So this is bidirectional information. Also too, 300C is in fact the modernization bridge to the future, allowing you the ability to access this anywhere, anytime, on any device. Sage 300C, just like Sage 300 Classic Desktop, has in fact even more advanced capability. So you're not losing any functionality, but in fact you're gaining functionality along with additional features in 300C. 300C, just like Sage 300, has in fact multi-company capability, and as you can see on my screen right here, there are various companies. Ensuring that it is in fact has multi-company capability, it does in fact have multi-language capability, multi-currency, multi-location, and it abides to current legislation. Now, before you log in, I'm in a demo environment, so I have a user ID. I'm logging in as an admin, known as administrative rights assigned to me. Each person in your organization will in fact be assigned a username as well as a designated password, ensuring them specific rights to actually log into your company information, understanding that all company information will in fact be kept confidential due to parameters being built around the security measures into Sage 300C. Sage 300C is deployed the exact same way as Sage 300. So even though you're operating it via a web browser, it in fact is known as more of a private cloud. It's not truly cloud. So I just wanted to emphasize that to keep that in mind. So now I'm going to go ahead and actually sign in. And while I'm signing in, what Sage 300C also allows you to do is it allows you the ability to access, once again, this company information anytime. I apologize, everyone. So now this here, I've actually logged into Sage 300C, and this is known here as your dashboard. This is going to be your landing page once you log onto Sage 300C, and based upon what designated company you're in, each dashboard can look completely different. This is in fact fully customizable to each and every user, each and every department, as well as each and every division. So as you can see here, the web browser that I have chosen to actually show today is Google Chrome, but it is supported by multiple browsers such as Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Safari, as well as Firefox. And what 300C allows you to do is I can obviously be outside of my work environment, being able to access this information, and be able to actually enter in transactions, generate reports, and manage company finances all via a web browser, okay? So now here, this obviously is a totally different look and feel, totally different user interface as compared to Sage 300. Keep in mind though, you have the ability to have Sage 300 on one screen and Sage 300C this screen on totally two different screens working simultaneously. All of this information is in fact in real-time data. Up at the top here, these are the various modules. Again, same exact modules that you see in Sage 300, okay, with the eliminations of a few, but how this is broken down is up at the top, you have your accounts payable, accounts receivable, general ledger. These three components make up your financial package. As you move across the top, you have your inventory control, order entry, and purchase orders. This will comprise of your distribution as well as your operation components of Sage 300. Now, a lot of time here, people like to start in the more. But before I do that, I wanted to highlight once again based on the dashboard parameters, this graphical presentation. So when you log into your company information, this is a quick glimpse of where your company is at this particular point in time. As you can see, I have 6 different graphical presentations, whether it's in totally different template, graphical, or informational at the bottom. Sage 300C right now has an ample amount of current widgets. That's what these graphical presentations are called, widgets, that you can in fact choose to say what you'd actually like displayed on your home screen. It is very easy to add and or remove. Currently, it holds 6 different screens. In the future, it will be continuing out to be able to hold more, say up to 10 different screens at one time. How you can actually go ahead and change things is you simply click this out, and now you can actually go ahead from your Add Widget drop-down list, click a new particular widget you'd like to be displayed, and that will in fact appear right here. You have further options here. You have Edit Settings, Edit Title, Refresh. This here is very important because these dashboards you can leave on your home screen, work on within the various modules, enter in transactions, and you'd come back here and simply refresh it. And that in fact will calculate the total transactions at the current present time that you've actually entered into the system. Once again, exemplifying real-time data. What 300C allows you to do, as well as 300, is it allows you this holistic view of the company, okay? So eliminating any separate silos, you can in fact go in here and you can see things, whether it's say across departments within say finance, or if you're in a totally different department within the organization, you can have access to that information. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, what is the security around this? And that's where I'd like to start with more, before we really do a deeper look into Sage 300. So under the more here, you have your administrative services, as well as common services, bank services, tax services, and scheduling. So this is really your go-to start from the get-go. Certain employees within your organization will be given administrative rights, allowing that particular person to ensure security measures around what employee sees what information within the software. You can define security groups as well as user authorizations. So if you'd like your accounting department to stay completely separate from your distribution and operation parameters, that can in fact be customized, where you'd go in, select the employee, define what exact modules they have the ability to work in and have access to, and then keeping everything completely separate, segregation of duties. Anytime you want to do common services, this is where you'd roll over from year to year your fiscal calendar, any company profile generic information, any optional fields, especially currencies. This is where you're going to go in and in fact set things, and it's actually going to be pushed out to all the various modules. So you do not have to keep continuously going into a module to remember what particular currency you're in or anything like that. Common services is where things are going to be set company-wide and pushed out through the various modules. Anytime you want to schedule things, set reminders, say the accounts payable clerk wants to come in and actually go ahead and remind them to pay X amount of bills, say at the first of the week, or set reminders that reports are going to be coming due. All of that can be done in your scheduling. Anytime you have bank services, such as bank reconciliations or anything like that around the financial parameters of the company, that can be actually done within the bank services optional tools right here. So this is your starting point right here. When you go in, you set everything, customize it, etc. And now each and every employee, once they've logged in with their username and assigned password, then they can go in and actually deploy it and now work and actually enter in transactions. So now let's talk a little bit more about the navigation of 300C. Up at the top here on the right-hand side, this is known here as your window manager. And this is known as your toggle feature. So as you can see, when you scroll at the top here, under each module, you have various additional options and then various screens to the right-hand side. So how this was built is to actually be able to scroll through the web just like you would from a personal standpoint. Okay? Everything is built from left to right, and under each module you can see everything you have just simply scrolling over, as well as left to right view, as opposed to Sage 300 where it was more of a folder menu type of setup. This window manager is, as you continue to open up each of the modules, it will save up to 10 different screens that you're currently working in, giving you that ability to actually toggle back and forth through the various screens without having to continuously scroll over and click through the various options. As you hit your max of 10 open windows, you start to close a few to then regain additional windows that you can continue to work through. As you move down here, notes. This is a brand new feature that has been added. And what this allows you to do is it allows you to search and in fact add notes for the following. You can add notes for customers, vendors, as well as inventory items. Now this here, based upon what screen you're in. So if you're in your accounts payable screen or your accounts receivable screen where you're tending to customers, accounts payable, you're tending to vendors, and in your inventory control, you're tending to inventory items. This particular notes screen will in fact pop up because it understands what in fact screen you're on. This will pop up. It is very simple to create a new note. All you do is click on the pink box here and you set whatever the note might be. You can obviously here drop down, say it's for a customer, vendor, inventory item. If you know the customer number, you put it in right here. What this does is it starts to build historical data for these specific criteria, customers, vendors, and inventory items. This is also very good for audit trail purposes. It in fact tells you who actually wrote the note, followed by when it was modified. Was it dismissed? Was it further edited? It can in fact be deleted, but in the back end, the notes are actually never deleted. There's an historical trail built around this. From a status perspective, you can in fact actually say if it is in fact active, expired, future, or dismissed. Now this here is also good around management. So as employees type in notes and put specific information tending to the various criteria, from a management perspective, you can go in and actually sign off on these notes. Say, has it been dismissed? At what date and time was it dismissed? There's, time stamps put on this and everything to build that historical tracking. But that is all based upon company decision parameters to set around what employees have access to what. As we move down to the next functionality here, this is also your reports functionality. This here is pulling in canned reports. These are known as the crystal reports. What you'd simply do is you'd add a report link. So it's pulling from the master database. So anything that has been built into Sage 300, you'd have the ability to actually add a report link. This is very useful for when your employees need to look at reports on a, say, weekly basis, monthly basis, quarterly basis. You simply go in here, and it's a drop-down list, so as reports are stored in here, it's shown right in this area right here. You'd click on the reports, you'd build the canned report, it would run, generate, and you can save, edit, mark it up however you wish, and resave it again. So this is a very useful tool for things that are going to be used on a very frequent basis. One thing that has been coming out, and it will be on, say, future webinar and future releases, is the one that's been released right now as of early December was Sage Intelligence. And many of you may be familiar with that because it does in fact exist in Sage 300. That's going to be known as another icon right up at the top here next to the Home tab. And that's going to have the ability to actually run and create a financial report, a trial balance, statement of cash flow. So that's the ability you will have, and that's something that I can show at another time. Up at the top here, administrator, this is how you'd actually sign out, and that's obviously recommended each and every time an employee signs out and logs out of the system. This little informational question mark icon here, this is very useful, okay? Any articles on how to get started and stuff, it'll walk you through. You also have various resources. Obviously, Sage University, for those of you who may not know, Sage University, you have access to that, and you can actually go ahead, any future documents or current blogs or any success stories, or anytime you may need help with certain things, that's a very useful tool. Any documentation, anytime you want to review certain things that you may not remember how to access or how to set it up, that's where you can actually access a bunch of stuff. Obviously, anytime you need contact support, etc., this is all here, and this is in fact open for each and every person while using Sage 300C. Now, as we move along at the top again, I'd just like to highlight a few things. So I'm just going to take you through one of the screens, because the next thing I want to talk about is how customizable Sage 300C is. So it allows you control over what you want to see and how does it relate to your company language. So let's just click on and under accounts payable transactions, and invoice entry. Okay, if I go to this screen here, this screen may look very familiar. This is in fact a replication as to what is in Sage 300. It is all defined, all the necessary fields are in fact here. The one thing that is different is the ability now to, as what we say, scroll less and see more. It has the look and feel of navigating through the web, and any particular areas or fields that you wish to not see can in fact be hidden. Under here, vendor and remittance, as you can see, I just expanded it, but if that's something that you do not necessarily need to see on your screen when entering company information, that can in fact be hidden. So again, exemplifying scroll less, see more. Now up at the top here, you have other different options, okay? So just like in Sage 300, Sage 300, under accounts payable transactions, under this subfolder menu icon, you do in fact have that same subfolder menu icon here, but it's all visible to you. Again, exemplifying much easier user interface, okay, to be able to achieve productivity and efficiencies to a greater value. Up here under accounts payable transactions, you have the ability to further, say, adjust a batch, adjust an entry, control any type of payments, and you have the ability under more. Do you want to actually have a payment inquiry or post specific batches? This here, you never have to leave this screen, and you can click on the various other screens and it'll bring you to those particular screens, okay? Now over here under options, you have the ability to import specific invoice entries as well as export them out. But more importantly, you have the ability to customize. Now, dependent upon, this here is customization, but it's native to Sage 300C. So once it's actually deployed, it's known as right here functionality right out of the box. So as soon as you open this and start working in it, you have the ability here to customize this. Again, not every single person has the ability to do this. This would be only really assigned to the person with administrative rights. Now, if you have things that are beyond the customization within this particular field box, that's something that you'd continue to work with your business partner on for specific customized configurations. But the native functionality you have here under Customize is anywhere that there's a text box here, you can in fact just click on it. And if you don't want to see actually batch number, or you'd like to see client ID, or whatever you'd wish to call it, you can in fact here change that, delete it, type in the text you'd wish to see, and then you click Save. And what that does is on the back end right here is that particular field box will in fact be changed to the current text that you've actually put into this field box. Anytime you don't want to see a specific field, you'd simply just uncheck it. To check it again, you'd simply just check it. And as you can see here, this particular page has 37 pages worth of fields that are built into this screen. So you'd simply just continue to scroll through this and check and uncheck, as well as change any specific text you wish to desire. You'd go ahead, change it, and save it. If you've made a mistake, you'd simply restore it, and it would restore it back to its original state. So that's the customization feature of Sage 300C, okay? And the last thing that I would just like to mention is based upon future releases and stuff, I'd ask that, you'd still stay tuned to everything, because there have in fact been new financial management screens added, as well as Sage Intelligence Reporting Cloud, the capability to have Sage Inventory Advisor Basics, which is a separate login, but it works and built in within Sage 300C, as well as additional web screen APIs that are out there. So any future advanced customizations, they're in fact supported by 300C. So you can in fact use this as your one-stop shop to help you really drive business forward, increasing efficiency, increasing productivity, and ultimately increasing your revenue. So with that, I'd like to now pass it back over to Matt, but I'd ask that all of you thank you very much, and to stay tuned to future releases of Sage 300C, as well as Sage 300C future webinars.
All right, awesome. Thanks, Renee. Before we turn it back to Daniel's screen, just in case you guys have any questions, if you don't mind typing them into the chat box and we can get them answered. I have one question so far, Renee, for you. Can you report on the note fields? Like, for example, can you create a custom report to show the notes for a particular customer or set of customers?
So how typically, I can definitely follow back up with you on generating a report, but what you can do that I know is out there, and this is how it's been done before, is if you're looking within a specific customer, all you do is enter that particular ID number or customer number, and just here on this screen alone, you can in fact see all the historical reports right there. I'm sure there is a way to actually run a specific report, and that might be something that I'd have to just double check back into Sage 300 to see, but that is something that you'd have access to see all the historical information right there real time.
Okay, great. We have another question here. If we upgrade to Sage 300C from Sage 300, will all my data be migrated over if I move, like how an iPhone does when a new update comes in? And does it need to be migrated, or does it stay the same since it's a 300 product?
So all of your information when you deploy Sage 300C, all of that information is going to be pushed through. So there's no additional migration because it's not a new software, and it's bidirectional. So any information in 300 will be pushed to 300C and vice versa.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll just add to that. I mean, it's important to stress that it is accessing the same data. There is absolutely no data migration required because the database is exactly the same, but based on how you're accessing it, either through the traditional desktop screens with Sage 300 or through this new web-based user interface with 300C, it's the same database.
Okay, great. And last question. What do you get in Sage 300C with the startup cost at about $100? And is that the whole cost, or will there be more to it besides just that monthly fee?
Do you want me to take that one, Matt?
Yeah, sure. If you don't mind, Daniel, Renee, whoever you want to take that.
Yeah, no, okay, no, it's fine. So yeah, so the pricing is tiered based on the functionality. We have different tiering for basics, essentials, and complete functionality. There's also tiering based on the level of support plan and business care plan that customers want to utilize. And so prices range from, I think $100 is a reasonable estimate, and it's obviously slightly lower for limited functionality and then slightly higher for everything. But yeah, you won't be spending much more than it's about $100 per month per user.
Okay, and looks like we got one more question. What sort of expected effort is expected to transition from 300 to 300C? Daniel or Renee, whoever wants to take that.
I'll say that, none at all. It's a new license key that we release, and that unlocks all of the additional functionality. Renee, any further detail on that?
Nope, you answered that correctly.
Okay, cool. Well, it looks like that's all we have. So Daniel, I'm going to turn it back to your screen now.
Sure.
And I guess at this point, if there is no other questions, which I don't see there is, I would just like to thank everyone for attending our webinar today. As mentioned earlier, we will be sending the recording out to everyone in an email. And if you have any further questions, can you please send them to jazzsoor at JSOOR at mantralogix.com, and I will be adding his email to the recording email that we'll be sending out later this week. So you can get it there. If you have any questions or anything else you want to speak to us about, you can email him. And I'd like to also thank Daniel and Renee for being on our webinar today, and I hope everyone else has a great rest of your day. Thanks again.